You're watching HCAM TV.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into HCAM Sports Talk Live. I am your host, Tom Nappi, and joining us on the show today, we have Mike Terosian, we have Andy Barron, Jared Keene is scheduled to join us as well. Guys, how are you?
Doing fantastic, Tom. Glad to be here.
All right, on the show today, we have all kinds of sports to talk. We have our NFL picks, which we've been doing on a weekly basis and having a lot of fun with. We have a lot of high school sports to talk as well. And we have the World Series going on between the Dodgers and the Rays. So maybe I'll throw you guys in the fire and we'll make a World Series prediction today. And also, of course, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to share them on our YouTube or our Facebook live streams, and we'll be happy to address your questions, comments, or concerns. But I want to get started off with the latest in Hopkinton Hillers sports. We had another action-packed weekend of Hillers sports, and it started on Saturday, October 17th. We started off with boys cross country, where the Hillers picked up a 22-33 win over Holliston. And then in the girls cross country match, it was a close one, but Holliston got the best of the Hillers 32-23. And then in JV boys soccer, Holliston took the victory 3-1 in a well fought out game. And then in the varsity boys soccer game, it ended in a 1-1 tie. Owen Schnurr scored the lone Hillers goal. And both goals in the game were scored in the final 10 minutes of the fourth quarter. So it was quite a game for varsity boys soccer. And also it was senior night as well. And we celebrated the two seniors on the Hopkinton Hillers varsity boys soccer team, Ross Komkowicz and Patrick Krantz, two tremendous athletes that have had great careers for the Hillers. Then on Sunday, October 18th, we picked things up with JV girls soccer. The Hillers got the win in that one, 2-1. And then in the varsity game, it was a good physical, well fought out game. Holliston won that one, 1-0. And then we had varsity field hockey. Holliston got the 3-1 victory in that game. And then we had the JV field hockey game. Holliston got the win in that game as well, 1-0. And of course, you can find all these games on our YouTube page, youtube.com/HCAMTV. And once again this weekend, we will be live as the Hillers will battle Norton in a number of contests. On Saturday, October 24th, the action kicks off with boys cross country. Then at 11 a.m., we'll have girls cross country. And at 12:30, boys varsity soccer, followed by boys JV soccer at 2:30 p.m., all versus Norton on October 24th, this coming Saturday. Then on Sunday, a couple more games for you. At noon, JV girls soccer versus Norton. Then at 2 p.m., varsity girls soccer against Norton. You can catch all these games live on our HCAM Ed channel, as well as our YouTube page, youtube.com/HCAMTV. And there you have it, the latest in Hillers sports. It was another action-packed weekend for the Hopkinton Hillers, Mike. And I have to say, I love the atmosphere, having all these games back-to-back. And it's been beautiful weather out there on the weekends. It's been a lot of fun covering all these games throughout the weekend.
I'm going to have to agree with you on that, Tom, because being there all day long and the weather that we've had, it's been fantastic. It's been great. And, the games move along. I love the running clocks. It seems like, and the 5-minute half times is fantastic as well. So I think they're doing this weekend here is supposed to be perfect.
Yep.
Another one.
Yeah, it's looking good. It's looking good. So it should be a lot of fun out there as they take on Norton. And it's been some good competitive games as well. Some really good play. Well, we have Andy Barron with us. Andy is the host of the Sports Buzz, which you can catch on MyFM 101.3 every Saturday at 11. Andy, how are you? How's things over at the Sports Buzz?
I'm doing very well, Tom and Michael. And the question I have is, how are you guys getting any downtime with all these games? My goodness. I mean, that's a lot of work, but man, I commend both of you. That's great that you're covering all those games.
Well, I tell you, we're very fortunate to have an awesome bunch of volunteers because HCAM is powered by our volunteers. There's just a couple employees here, and the rest of the volunteer crew is amazing. And we can't keep our doors open without them.
That's awesome. That's so great. Everyone pitching in there. The buzz is going well. Heard every Saturdays with myself, Johnny Wilbur, and Craig D'Alessandro on MyFM 101.3. We've been talking to a lot of local athletes and about how their seasons have been going, especially within Milford, Hopedale, also as well, Nipmunk. And I can tell you, Tom, I know we talked about this briefly, but the one thing that really has stood out to me, and I haven't actually been to any games, but just hearing the sportsmanship and the teamwork and how everyone is working together. And of course, the teams want to win, but I really think that the message is loud and clear. This is about teamwork, leadership, and really what a great life lesson to learn. I mean, I really think we take a lot of things for granted, and with, we've only won this state meet or we didn't win last year. But I'm not getting the feeling of that this year. I just think these kids are so happy to play.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I think this year, of course, you want to win the games, and they get a little bummed out when they don't for very understandable reasons, but they're just happy to be out there. They're happy to be playing. And there was a lot of fear heading into the season that they would not be out there. They wouldn't have the opportunity to play. So it's great to see them out there. It's great to see these games. And I think, they're enjoying the great atmosphere they're getting on the weekends. And obviously the amount of fans are limited, but they're filling that limit to capacity, and they're getting a lot of viewers as well watching these games. So I think they're just excited to be out there playing with their respected teams.
Yeah, I want to touch on the sportsmanship. First off, I always thought the TVL's sportsmanship throughout the entire league has been fantastic. Hillers pride themselves on their sportsmanship. And the only thing that I'm a little disappointed is they can't practice all their sportsmanship. And one of it is when a player knocks over another player, they usually want to say, hey, sorry, and help the player up. But they can't. They can't touch him.
Right.
So that's one bit of sportsmanship. And you can see it because you see the player will be saying, hey, look, I'm sorry, whatever. And they want to just go and help him up, but they can't.
Michael, it's such a great point. And, I also think too, Tom was going over some of the scores there, when it's Holliston and Hopkinton, it's still that rivalry. Same with like Medway and Millis and all these other schools, and I think that's something that also needs to be said as well. It seems like the competition as well in the Hockomock League, which we cover a lot of, has also been very competitive. And, this is probably going to touch on to another topic, but I really like how the TVL did it as well as the Hockomock. You're keeping the athletes safe, but it's also still a lot of rivalry games. There's still something to play for. There still is something to play for. If you're a senior, I mean, you might still be looking at going to college next year and playing. You still have something to play for there. Even if it's just 6 or 7 games, it's something. And, honestly, guys, you really have to ask yourself this too. You can write a book out of this. We are never going to forget this. Really?
No, sir. You certainly won't.
You're not going to forget it.
It's been quite a year, and so many things have had to change just because of the circumstances this year, things that you would never expect. You got games at times you'd never expect. You got just crazy circumstances that no one could have predicted in a million years this would happen, but we're getting through it as it goes on like everybody else, and the sports leagues are adjusting. The MIAA has done a great job adjusting, and Again, I respect the MIAA for keeping the hope of sports alive and for getting it going. And
Right.
they had to make a lot of changes, but they got something going, and that's what matters, because when you're in high school and you have the opportunity, maybe the last few opportunities to play competitive sports in your entire life, you should be able to do so.
Well, so listen, I'm the old man in the room, and yes, we'll never forget this year ever. And I used to have the bragging rights for 42 years about, hey, we had 2 weeks off of school from the blizzard of '78. I got nothing
Right.
on 2020.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously you're not playing as many games, and there's some rivalries that you're not able to take part in this year. But with what the TVL is doing, I think it's great, because in Hopkinson's case, you still get to play Ashland, you still get to play Medway, Holliston, Bellingham, and Norton. So you're keeping some great rivalries going. And in some cases, you're playing teams that you would play even more than in a normal season. The Hillers are actually going to see Medway again in the last week of the season in field hockey, because Norton doesn't have a field hockey program. So it's different circumstances, but I just think, when I watch these games and I look at the athletes out there, they're just so happy to be out there. And they're always happy to be out there. But this year, there's something extra to it. They're like extra happy to be out there. And in the case of soccer, you have a lot of rule adjustments, a lot of changes to the game, and those changes can definitely be frustrating at times. But one thing I haven't seen is any athletes getting frustrated about those changes. When, meanwhile, it's normal circumstances, you might get a little frustrated, but they know these aren't normal circumstances, and they know that they have to adjust to these rules. And there doesn't seem to be too much animosity having to adjust to these new sets of rules.
Tom, quick question, actually, question for both of you. Now, are you announcing cross country meets, or are you just doing?
Well,
You are.
we did last week, and we're still trying to nail down announcers for this weekend.
Well,
That's awesome.
yeah. So if you're around, Andy, but I know you get the sports, but
Yeah.
I wish I could help. I mean,
As you can tell, I wasn't a runner when I was growing up, so.
I can tell you something as well. Being a runner myself, and I can't remember the last time I went to a race. It's been so long, and again, I think reiterating what Tom was saying is that I really think the athletes are just taking this as they just are happy to be playing. I mean, if I couldn't even like run, in high school or college, like look at the colleges right now. It's at a complete standstill. They're already canceling winter sports as well in some colleges. I mean, this has got to be just devastating for some people.
It certainly is. And I do want to mention Jared Keene is with us from the Metrowest Daily News.
What's up, Jared?
How are you?
What's up, guys? Sorry about that. Sorry for the delay. I was running a few minutes late, but it's good to see you guys. It's good to be back on.
That's okay. You did mention you're going to be late, and I totally forgot about it, so no problem.
You should have heard what he was calling.
We'll dock your pay a little bit, but don't.
All right.
So Jared, we just pretty much been talking about how it's great to see high school sports back. The athletes having a good time out there. I know you've been out and about. What are some of the games that you've been covering lately, and how has the atmosphere and everything been going with the games that you got to see?
It's been going well. I've covered a little bit of boys soccer. I've covered a little bit of girls soccer. I've covered some field hockey. Field hockey is interesting because the 7-on-7 really allows it to be so open and back and forth. And, I was at Medway Hopkinton, not this past weekend, but the weekend before at over at Medway, and it was just back and forth and, just much more open and, just lots of room to attack and, and really play more. It's funny, and Medway actually beat up on Hopkinton pretty good that game, but it's just interesting to see kind of played at such a, in such a, on such a big field with obviously just fewer players. Because
and that's a great point, because I've noticed that too in field hockey games. Typically, it takes longer to get from one end to the other when you have those 11 players out there. But you're starting to see a lot more back and forth with this 7-on-7 action, and you're seeing longer passes than you would normally see, of course.
Yep.
But you get the players having to run the field a whole lot more than they used to when it was 11-on-11,
and they have more space to operate in. You know, girls that play on the wing can have a ton of space on the wing to be able to, get forward and then kind of cross the ball, or come inside and try to pass, or kind of whatever they need to do. And yeah, I mean, there's just so much more space to do really everything. I mean, I know that probably sounds cliche and whatever, because it's obviously, a big field with less players, but yeah, I mean, it's very,
it's fun. I actually like it. I enjoy it.
I like it too, actually. I do like it.
I enjoyed watching it, but I had to call my first game by myself on Sunday. It was horrifying. But I tell you, I mean, I know all about field hockey, very well known for all its whistles, and yes, how long it takes to get from one end to the other because of all the players and all the whistles. It did move a whole lot faster. It was more enjoyable to watch.
Right.
Mike, I just have to say, I listened to a little of your broadcast. You didn't do a bad job.
Oh my God!
I thought
really?
you did very well.
I always tell my fans to watch the game with the volume down. It's
Guys, it couldn't have been as horrifying as that Patriots game on Sunday. I mean,
That's true. That's very true.
Oh,
I mean, Michael, you didn't miss anything.
do we have to talk about that Patriots game? That was just so dreadful. That was horrible.
Yeah.
They still had a chance to win.
They did, and they.
Oh my goodness!
I don't know how you lose to that team, and now you got the 49ers coming in. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what to expect this year. We'll get into it more, but I think the lack of practices and the constant interruptions because of COVID really played a huge role in the Patriots' failure this past Sunday. But we'll talk about that more when we get into the NFL picks. We'll touch on the Patriots a whole lot more.
Okay.
But I do want to mention, it looks like, unfortunately, a decision has been reached on winter tournaments.
Oh boy.
There'll be no MIAA winter state tournaments, but the regions can do their own thing. So the leagues could have a tournament if they want, and the sections can decide to have a tournament. So we might see some league tournaments and sectionals. If I were to guess, I think we'll see league tournaments over sectionals, but it would be nice to get some sectionals. I guess it'll depend on the situation by then with COVID, but with more areas going into the red, I don't know, it might be tough to have sectionals, but
There'll be a little extra work for the ADs because the ADs got to figure it out instead of the MIAA, right?
pretty much they all have to, the leagues have to work together really to figure out what they're going to do,
Right.
and figure out how many games they're going to play in that type of thing. So I think this is going to be the case all year long.
Yeah.
You're going to see the MIAA leave it up to the leagues and the sections, and that's going to be it, which is totally understandable.
Yep.
Because that way they could do it based on their circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the right call. In retrospect, it's probably the right call. I certainly don't envy the roles of some of these ADs these days. With how often they're probably communicating with their coaches and other ADs, and I mean, I feel like it's doing their regular job, but to even more of an extreme due to all these obviously circumstances that are going on right now. I mean,
I always joke with the Hopkinton athletic director, Rich Cormier, because he comes to Hopkinton and then Triple E, and then coronavirus and canceled seasons and move seasons.
Yep.
And he's at a full
sanitizing the ball at halftime.
and chasing down the balls during the game because you can't have the ball.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
But
like I said, the ADs are committed. They take the responsibilities of these games going off successfully themselves. They're not just leave it up to teachers with stipends. Like, we see all the teachers at the games, guys, right? That are just there for like crowd control and to help with ticket sales or whatever, and they all get their little stipends. But the ADs aren't putting other people at risk,
Right.
so they're there themselves.
Yeah.
I love the fact that the trainer is there for the whole game.
Yep.
Instead of on all, I don't know, what we'd have like 4 or 5 fields going in Hopkins at the same time and one trainer. Oh, and
Yep.
of course the athletic center, and then one trainer on the little golf cart, just checking in and going by radio. So that's nice to see. The crowds have been fantastic. Everyone's been respectful. But hands down, Rich Cormier and all these athletic directors out there filling up the hand sanitizers. They're wiping down the balls at every quarter. It's amazing. Who would think? You got an athletic director. Here is one of your top administrators at the high school, and he's wiping balls.
Yeah.
Listen, it all starts with leadership. I've been saying this all along.
Yeah.
Starts with leadership. Okay? You lead, they'll follow. It's that simple.
Yeah.
So I can't, obviously Rich Cormier, I don't know him personally, but he's doing great. Peter Boucher, same guy over in Milford.
Yeah.
Leading. You
Yep.
have to lead by example, or otherwise no one's going to know what to do. It's just that simple.
And if there's one thing you could say, guys like Rich Cormier and Peter Boucher, very committed. They love their athletic team.
Oh, they certainly do. They certainly do. I can say the same thing about Tom Angelo over at Franklin. I've been at Franklin a few times recently.
So many.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, he's great too. He does a great job. And speaking of Franklin, I just hope there's some basketball because Franklin basketball always a lot of fun. Of course, Hopkinton basketball has been tremendous lately. So many great teams in the area. So we're hoping for some basketball. But the indoor sports might be a little tough. So that'll be a wait and see kind of thing.
Yep.
But in any case, let's get to the NFL picks. There's a lot of NFL news to talk about, and we'll probably jump back into some high school stuff a little bit.
You want to
later
repeat
in
on the show,
as well.
Tom, on how well you did last week again?
Yes, I do. I was the grand champion, going 11-4. Ethan, who was representing the Metrowest Daily News last week, went 10-5. So he did a good job. He was right in the mix.
That's respectable.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
I took a few weeks off. I was doing so bad. I'm like, I don't even want to submit my picks. That was bad.
Mike went 0-15.
Yeah, right. Whoa.
I'm just kidding. He went actually. I recounted because I was off one. You went 9-6.
9-6.
9-6.
Oh, is that because I took that other team that you didn't?
Well,
like?
you took the Bills, so that wasn't good. I didn't count that one.
That's because you
first.
took the Jet.
Bob went a very disappointing 9-6, and he usually beats us. So I was surprised to see him go 9-6.
Did Bob predict a tie last week at all?
He thought about it. He had a couple of interesting upset picks, though. It didn't pan out very well for him, but we're all above 500, so that's an accomplishment. So we'll see if we could do the same this week. I think, at least in my experience doing these picks, the beginning of the season's a lot easier than when you start getting into the middle of the season.
Oh yeah.
Because now you start seeing upsets like the Broncos beating the Patriots and all kinds of crazy things like that, or the Titans beating the Bills, or not that was a huge upset, but Tampa Bay beating Green Bay. It looks like Tampa Bay's maybe coming into form now. So we're getting into the upset time of the year, the middle of the season. So speaking of upsets, or I guess you could say upsetting, on Thursday Night Football, it's the 1-5 New York Giants against the 1-4-1 Philadelphia Eagles. The Giants getting their first win of the season last week against the Washington Football Team, 20-19. What a game that was, but I don't think they're going to win 2 in a row. I'm going to go Eagles in this one. Jared, what do you think?
Wait, can we first talk about how terrible of a division that is? What an awful division.
Washington football team still can win it. They still can win that division.
Anyone can. Dallas still can. Philadelphia still can. They all is
They're all
there
alive,
anyone in that
yeah.
division with 2 wins? I think they all have 1 win, right? I gotta look, or I think Dallas has 2 wins.
Yeah,
Dallas,
but Dallas just got housed by Arizona. Housed.
crushed. Yeah, they're 2-4.
No,
Dallas 2-4. Eagles 1-4 and 1. Giants 1-5. Washington football team 1-5.
I'm going. I don't know. I'm going Eagles just because I hate the Giants. That's it. That's the only reason I'm taking the Eagles.
That's fair. Andy, what do you think?
Oh boy, yeah, tough one. I'm actually going to go with the Giants only because I still think there's some talent there with Daniel Jones. I've seen enough of Carson Wentz. Doug Peterson's on his way out the door. Giants win. It's going to be like a 13-10 game.
All right, Mike.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing because the Eagles got some more injuries, and I think with the Eagles being at home, I'm gonna go Eagles. Plus, I hate the Giants.
All right. I got one name, Travis Fulgham. Look out.
Yep. He's been like the only receiver for Philly recently because everybody else is injured.
And I picked him up in fantasy.
Is Kelsey still? Is Brent Kelsey still there for the Eagles? Is he still playing, or did he get traded? Because he was a good player. But
Who?
is it was it Brent Kelsey? Does he still?
Oh, it's not Kelsey.
Brent Selleck?
Brent
Selleck. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
No.
gone. Yeah.
He's
No,
gone.
yeah, he's gone.
He's long gone. Okay.
And then they had Hurts, who Hurts got hurt, didn't he? Or is he still?
Yeah. They're really
Hurts,
banged up.
Hurts, Zach Ertz. All right, so moving on to the Sunday games. The surprising 2-3 Lions against the 1-5 Atlanta Falcons. Now, there was all kinds of rumors floating around last week that if the Lions lose, Matt Patricia's gone, but he saved his job. He beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. Question is, can he beat Atlanta? And what did Atlanta do last week? I believe they
won.
Oh, they did
What
win.
40 points.
They had a big game.
That's right. Oh, they beat Minnesota.
So
Minnesota might be falling apart. Atlanta, I mean, they've always been good all season offensively, but they've been terrible at holding leads. But I can't picture the Lions winning 3 in a row. So I'm going to go Atlanta here. Jared, what do you think?
I'm going Falcons. Again, this is another weird one because I kind of want to pick the Lions. And I don't really want to pick the Falcons, but I'm going to pick the Falcons. I don't know. I think the Falcons ride the momentum into this week and get a dub here.
That is a tremendous analysis.
Actually, there is some talent though on that Falcons offense.
Julio Jones is back too. He had a big game.
And Calvin Ridley is.
That's
he is
true.
so good. I don't like the Falcons either, but I can't stand the Lions. They're not. I mean, I'll go with the Falcons.
Yeah, I'm definitely Falcons too. I think they do have the better offense, and both defenses are terrible. So yeah.
I think if Bob was picking with us, he would have went with the Lions on this one.
Oh,
No, he would have gone with the tie.
He would have took the Lions.
He would have.
Send him an email. Make him phone in his picks for you.
We should. I don't know where Russell Gage went for Atlanta. He started off red hot and then just kind of fell off the map. The Battle of Ohio, Browns, Bengals. Well, the Browns got crushed last week against the Steelers. But I think they're going to rebound this week and they're going to beat the Bengals. Jared, what do you think?
Again, this is kind of an interesting one because the Browns were playing so well. And then obviously, like you said, they got housed by the Steelers, but the Steelers are good. I don't think the Bengals have what it takes in this game. I do like Burrow. I don't know. I think the Browns refined it, and I think I like the Browns this week.
All right, Andy.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with Jared, even though the Browns finally got, every time they face a good team, they never show up. But, the Bengals aren't quite there yet, even though I really do like Joe Burrow. But, yeah.
I like Joe Burrow a lot, too.
Yeah, but I'm going to take the Browns.
All right. Yeah, I think Joe Burrow is the real deal.
No question.
And I think he might be the best quarterback the Bengals have had in many years. I think the guy has hope.
I think I'm with you on that.
Mike.
Yeah, I'm definitely going with Browns. And it has nothing to do with the Bengals blowing a 21-point lead either. So.
Yeah, that was.
But
pretty
it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a close game.
I think it will too.
Yeah.
It could.
Those
It
games
could.
are usually close. Big rivalry,
I still don't know what the Browns are. I mean, I don't know if they're just a really good subpar team that'll beat the other subpar teams, but lose to the really good teams.
It's good analysis.
They got crushed.
That's great analysis.
They're right. No, you're right, Tom.
That's
They're
what-
just they are never going to win with Baker Mayfield. You're not going to win with this guy. Period.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think you're going to win Super Bowls with him, but
No.
I mean, he has potential. He's a good athlete. He's good quarterback, strong arm, but sometimes he's just so inaccurate and he makes bonehead decisions.
I can't stand it every time he does an interview. He's insufferable to listen to, really.
Yeah. But hey, that Mayfield OBJ connection, sometimes you really see it, sometimes you really don't. So there's some good analysis for you. All
There you
right.
go.
So we got
Sneaky thing about the Browns. I love how the Browns open up the playbook sometimes because they have a couple of receivers in OBJ and Jarvis Landry who can actually throw the ball. So when they kind of get that reverse pass going or whatever, when you got like Landry hucking it 40 yards to OBJ,
right.
I like that. I think that's a little spicy element that the Browns have.
And we'll talk about reverse passes more in a moment when we get to the Patriots, because there was some interesting plays in that game, especially towards the end. So our next game, though, is the 4-1 Green Bay Packers against the 1-5 Houston Texans. The Texans had a tough loss last week against the Titans. They were getting crushed in that game, but came all the way back, sent it to overtime. But that Texans defense just cannot stop a thing.
No. I think the Packers are going to be pissed this week after losing to Tampa Bay last week. I'm starting this one out Packers, and I'm guessing we're all going Packers here.
All right, I like it. Let's confirm. Andy, what do you got?
Yeah, absolutely. Even though, I really do like Romeo Crennel because he was just so phenomenal here with the Patriots. But this Texans team is a disaster. No, the Packers got blown out last week. Yeah, they're going to roll in this one pretty easily.
All right, Mike.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be a big day for Aaron, but big day for Aaron. Yeah.
Where are you at right now? Gillette Stadium?
Yes.
Okay.
I got my drone behind me.
There you
Flying
go.
out my drone.
That Texans have the offense. They have the weapons, but just no defense whatsoever. And I just don't think they could stop Aaron Rodgers. But man, what a job Tampa Bay's defense did last week. And what a totally different Tampa Bay team it was this past week compared to a couple of weeks ago against the Bears. They went from totally undisciplined to very disciplined in 1 week. It was pretty impressive to see. Maybe it's the Tom Brady effect. Carolina Panthers, New Orleans Saints. This is going to be a good one, I think. And the Saints, they have had a lot of question marks the past couple of weeks, but they're coming off a bye. So we'll see what I pick. But this one, we're going to start off with Mike. Let's give Mike the first pick. Panthers or the Saints?
Definitely Saints. I see the Saints. I see that. I think it's going to be all offense because the defense are having issues. So, yeah, Saints.
It very well could be. Andy.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Saints. They're coming off a bye. Breeze is always he's always really good off a bye, kind of very similar to Tom Brady. Carolina still is banged up. I still don't think they got Christian McCaffrey back yet. So, yeah, I'm going with the Saints.
All right, Jared.
I second or third or whatever all of the Saints picks. I think the Saints coming off a bye are going to be dangerous. I think Breeze is going to be ready to go. And I think the key here is I think the Saints are, I believe, going to have Michael Thomas finally. Michael Thomas is probably a little bit time to get healthy now. And I know he punched a teammate recently and had whatever, but the guy is talented.
Oh,
he's obviously he's a top 3 receiver in the league easily. I think if he's back this week, again, coming off a bye, Saints.
All right, I got to go with Saints too on this one. Coming off the bye week, Panthers starting to struggle a little bit. Their defense is slacking. And by the way, one of my great picks last week was picking the Bears over the Panthers. I got that over. Well, actually, it was a couple of us that picked Bears.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was 3 of us. All right. So Mike's the only one that picked Carolina. So that was a great pick by the three of us.
Keep rubbing that stuff in there, man. Go ahead.
Can I? All right. So our next game's Bills Jets. Is anyone going with the Jets? I can't imagine.
The Jets are the worst team I've ever seen ever. It's the most disaster of a team I if the Jets win this game, I don't even know what I would do if the Jets win this game somehow.
I think
How is Adam Gase still the coach there? Seriously, like what? This team is not going to win a game this year. No, the Bills can win 3-0. Really, I mean, I agree with Jared. If the Bills lose this game, like, oh man,
that would be 3 in a row too.
Yeah, no, no, Bills roll.
You know, if the Patriots have the typical Patriots luck, though, the Bills would lose this game, and then Pats win next week, and they're still only a game out of first.
That would just be.
Mike, what do you think?
Oh, we on a different question. I thought we all said yes to the Bills.
Okay. We're all going Bills.
I didn't even want to add to this mess.
I don't know. I figured maybe you would go Jets to try to pick up a game on us.
Oh my gosh!
I'll save that for a pick later to be determined.
All right, here's a side pick. Who gets fired first, Adam Gase or Matt Patricia?
Adam Gase for sure.
I think it's Patricia because they cannot stand him in Detroit. They have been trying to run him out since day one. The Jets, who wants to even coach there? Like there's nobody wants that job. I mean,
no, good point. Good point, Andy. Good point, Andy. Because I feel like actually probably if the Jets were going to fire Gase, they probably already would have done it at this point because they're obviously so terrible.
And I have to agree with Andy. I think it's going to be Matt Patricia. I don't think the Jets are going to fire Adam Gase because I just don't think they're ran well. And for some reason, they still love Gase. But I think Patricia's going to be the first one to go. I guess we'll have to wait and see for that one. Patricia was going to be fired. I think Adam Schefter reported this. He was going to be fired if the Lions lost to Jacksonville. So I think he's one loss away from being canned, but maybe that saved his job for a few weeks. We'll have to wait and see. All right, so here's a very interesting one. The Dallas
Cowboys.
Dallas Cowboys and the Washington football team. Could Washington have turned a corner? No.
Hey, listen, these Cowboys are in first place, man.
Washington could not even beat the Giants. I think the Red Rocket is going to excel this week, and Dallas is going to win this game 9-6.
Wait, are we doing a rerun of a different week or something? What are you talking about?
Jared, what do you think?
Oh,
I'm going Dallas. I think Ezekiel Elliott obviously had a rough game the other night against Arizona. I think he comes back and puts in some work this week. And I think Dallas has a few too many weapons between CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup. Yeah, give me Dallas.
They had none of those weapons working against Arizona.
You're right. I mean, Arizona was on fire.
They certainly were. Andy, what do you think?
I am going to take Dallas, but I think it's going to be close. This is an old school rival, and Washington always does play Dallas stuff.
Yep,
they do.
You're right.
But they don't have the offense. Dallas wins.
All right, Mike.
I am going Washington.
Wow.
It's gonna be. Listen, all right. Dallas is in first place, but they only get 2 wins, right? So
yes.
Yeah, 2 wins.
Which you could argue they shouldn't have any of those wins.
Right. Washington is a scrappy team, and I think it's going to be an upset, and I think Washington is going to take it. So this is the one that's throwing me over the edge right here.
You know what we're forgetting about though? The Alex Smith factor.
Now, is he going to start? Because they benched Dwayne Haskins, right? Or
actually, who started for them last week? Because
Kyle Allen. They've been starting Kyle Allen, right?
They should start Smith. They played him a good amount the other game, and he did fairly well. So I guess, Kyle Allen just lost to the Giants, so I think it's Alex Smith time. I think eventually you'll see Alex Smith get some starts this year. You just have to. And I think on this one, Bob would have went with the tie for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
He might have picked a few ties this week. I bet he would have picked probably a tie for the Thursday night game as well.
I still can't believe he predicted a tie. I can't believe that.
And you notice how smart he is. He hasn't done it since. He refuses to do another one.
Well, he's
He's going to carry that boy for the season here.
he's saving that tie card until like another Bengals game or something. Seahawks, who are 5-0, taking on the Arizona Cardinals, who are 4-2. Both of these teams have been red hot. I would pound the over on this game because I think both teams kind of lack a defense. Seattle coming off the bye week. I think Arizona's going to be riding high after that win against Dallas, but a little too high. This game I could see going into overtime. I don't see it ending in a tie. I'm going to go Seattle here. Let's go to Mike for the next pick.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Seattle, it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. And I also believe, Cardinals short week as they played Monday and then the bye week. So, yeah, I'm definitely Seahawks. Yeah, close game, but high scoring.
All right. This could be like one of those 40-38 kind of games.
I was thinking like 35, 36.
Andy, what do you think?
I'm going to take Arizona. They've had Seattle's number for the last couple of years. I like Kyler Murray, looks great, and I'm starting to buy into Cliff Kingsbury. This guy's a pretty good coach. He's been impressive. Seattle's due for a loss here. I like the Cardinals.
All right. And it's a division game.
Yes.
So
It's at home. It's at Arizona.
Anything could happen in that wild, wild west. Jared, what do you think? He's looking at all his notes.
No, I'm torn on this one, to be completely honest with you, because I really want to go Arizona here, but I think Russell Wilson is the difference. Not many teams have really been able to slow down Russell Wilson so far this year. The guy is just incredible. I'm with Mike. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if this went into overtime or if this was like a 1-point game or something. I think I'm going Seattle, but I would not be surprised at all if Arizona won this game.
I think this game is probably going to be the game of the week. It's going to be an unbelievable game. Here's an interesting one. Chiefs, who are 5-1 against the 2-3 Broncos. There's no possible way the Broncos beat the Patriots and then the Chiefs. I'm going to go Chiefs. Jared, what do you think?
Chiefs. That's it. All I'm going to say is Chiefs.
That's all you got to say sometimes.
All I got is Chiefs.
Andy.
I like the Chiefs, but I do think the Broncos are going to keep it close.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, it's not going to be a blow up by any means, and I think it's the Chiefs. I mean, even though the Chiefs are coming off the short week, I think they'll do fine.
The Broncos are really going to have to step up their defense. If the Broncos play, very stout defense, again, I think they keep this close for sure, but I still think the Chiefs win.
Yeah, the Chiefs will not be making as many mistakes as the Patriots did last week, for sure. Speaking of the Patriots of New England.
Oh, here we go.
They are taking on the San Francisco 49ers. 3-3, Jimmy G. Well, he didn't play all the games, so I guess he's not 3-3, but his team is. And the 49ers, they just had a very impressive win the other night against, who was it?
Beat the Rams.
There was the Rams.
Oh, they looked good.
That's right.
It did.
I put the Rams as a win for all of us, so mark us all down a loss. So Jimmy G came back initially after his injury against, I believe it was Philadelphia. Did not look good at all. Ended up coming back out of the game. They got crushed. But then last week, he was 100% healthy. They absolutely crushed the Rams. I am in fear right now for the Patriots because they could actually lose 3 games in a row. I am in fear.
You're going with the 49ers?
Let's get back to me. We'll start off with Andy.
See if anyone can sway you.
We'll start off with Andy on this one.
I'm going to take the Patriots. I think they're going to bounce back this week. The last 2 weeks have just been it's been a disaster for the league, really, honestly. They have more time to prepare. And let's face it, I don't fear Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't. He was benched in that Eagles game. Yes, he did play well here last week, but I can't trust the guy. I mean, I just can't. The Niners are flying all the way from west to east. I know it's a 425 game. I think the Patriots are going to be up. I think they're going to be fired up. I think they're going to be upset. Listen, I think their defense the last 2 weeks has been very good. They really have. They held the Chiefs to 20 points. And then they didn't allow a touchdown to the Broncos. I know their offense isn't that good, but I like them to bounce back. It is going to be a close game, though. I think they're going to win by a field goal.
And I got to agree, the defense has been very good. The offense is the huge problem, and this is something I've been saying for weeks. They need receivers. They need a deep threat. There was a couple games where it looked like guys like N'Keal Harry and Damiere Byrd were stepping up. Edelman, I don't know what's wrong with him. He did have a nice pass the other day. He didn't have a terrible game against the Broncos, but he's just not the Edelman that we're used to. So hopefully he can be himself in these next few weeks and be as effective as he was in the recent past couple of years. But they might need a receiver at the trade deadline if they want any chance at doing anything in the playoffs. I just don't think they have enough. And the 49ers defense, they've taken a step back this year. I think this is going to be a really close game. I'm going to go Patriots. I just can't imagine them losing 3 in a row. I can't imagine it. And if they lose, I'm going to kick myself because I really almost went 49ers, but I can't imagine them losing 3 in a row.
Yeah, don't beat yourself up because if they lose, then I'll kick you. All right, listen, they're not going to lose 2 in a row at home. Ain't going to happen. I mean, granted, you don't have the fans there, but that is some great sound that they pipe in, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and I think not having the fans made a big difference in that Broncos game.
Oh, of course. It does. It does it everywhere.
Yeah.
That's why it's called home field advantage. That's why. Yeah, there's no doubt. I'm going to go one up on Andy, and I'm going to say they're going to win by a touchdown.
I won't say that. Jared, what do you think?
I'm about as close to picking the 49ers as I think I could possibly be. But again, I think I've been swayed a little bit here. I was actually, when we first started talking about this game, I was probably going to pick the 49ers, but you guys have swayed me to pick the Patriots. Only if the Patriots can stop George Kittle. The guy is just an animal. And what a player that guy is, man. He is ridiculous.
And the Patriots against tight ends, really good tight ends like him, scares me.
I think Belichick will be focused on trying to stop him, though. I think he's going to be the key to, what the defense needs to do this week. And I think Belichick finds a way to contain him a little bit. Maybe he gets in the end zone once or something. But I don't think he has a massive game like he did the other night. But yeah, I mean, I'm really, really close to picking the 49ers here because of his threat, and the speed of their running backs. But I think the Patriots do get it done here by maybe 5 points or less. Maybe probably a field goal.
What I love about your analysis, sometimes I can still tell you're trying to think of who you should pick, but you're kind of talking it out, and you're like, well, Kittle's going to do this, but I think he's going to do this. All right, yeah, I'll go with the Patriots. I love it.
Watch out for Deebo Samuel too. He is a very underrated player.
And also, I have him on my fantasy team, so
good player.
He's a very
good player.
The weapons are a concern for me in this game. This could turn into a scoring fest. And if it does, the Patriots are going to lose. Defense is going to be key in this game. You got to shut down Kittle. And Belichick likes to zone in on that one guy, shut him down first, and then take the others as it comes. But shutting down Kittle will be key. I have to agree with that.
The 49ers will be playing with some confidence too, obviously coming off this win against the Rams. But again, I don't see the Patriots losing 3 in a row and 2 at home.
I'll tell you what, if the Patriots lose this game, I'm not picking them against anyone good the rest of the season. because that means they're going to be a disaster, and they're not the Patriots that we're used to coming
Yeah,
back.
and then you got Buffalo. You got to go to Buffalo next week. Now I
Yep.
know that's no fans. If
Best
they
believe I'm picking the Bills in that game.
then you play the Jets, and God forbid they can't win that game. Then you got Baltimore, Houston, and then Arizona.
If they can't beat the Jets, I'm just done watching them in general.
Yeah.
Sunday Night Football. This is going to be a great one. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are one of those teams that look brilliant in some games, and in other games they look absolutely awful. And guess what? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been like that this season too.
Yep.
Maybe not quite as up and down as the Raiders, but pretty up and down. I think the Buccaneers are starting to blend. They're starting to find their own. I think that Packers game might have been their turning point to becoming an elite team. I'm going to go Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this game. Jared.
I'm going Bucks. I think Brady's finding his rhythm, continuing to find his rhythm. I think they're again playing with some confidence after that win over the Packers. And I like the Bucks' weapons in this game. I think Evans has a big game, and I think Godwin also has a big game. Give me
All
the
right.
Bucks.
I like it. Andy, what do you got?
I'm going to take the Raiders because look, they beat the Chiefs. I mean, that was a stunning upset. Nobody saw that coming. You really have got to give them credit. John Gruden is a good coach, and he annoys me and stuff, but listen, I just think the Bucks, they are a Jekyll and Hyde team. You never know what you're going to get out of them because when it's good, it's good, but when it's bad, it is bad for
You
that
could say
team.
the same thing about the Raiders, though. You could say the exact same thing about the Raiders.
That's true. You can. I like the Raiders this week. I just think
Okay.
that the Bucks are gonna. They're coming off a big win. You're going to the West Coast. I mean, it's gonna be close though.
Andy, I'm giving you a new nickname, Upset Special. Mike, what do you got?
There you go.
I think Brady's going to keep things rolling for the Bucks. I mean, you would think with the Raiders, they got the beat down last week. I think with the Raiders coming off the bye, I don't know.
All right.
Yeah, Bucks.
Good analysis.
Defense is outstanding. I like it.
So one of the things that the NFL website likes to do is put the rescheduled games at the end. So this is actually a 1:00 game that we're going to pick next. The Steelers and the Titans. Both teams are 5-0. This could be your AFC championship right here. Steelers are playing unbelievable football.
This could be the game of the week, actually. This could definitely be. I know we were talking about Seahawks.
better
Cardinals.
game of
This
the
could
week, yeah.
definitely be the game of the week.
Right. It
Yes.
really could be. This is going to be a great 1:00 game. The Titans are playing unbelievable. Ryan Tannehill, man, give him some weapons. The guy can play. That's for sure. The Titans defense has been a little iffy at times. Steelers probably a little more stable. Oh, man. You know what? I'm going to take the pressure off myself for now, and Mike can pick first.
Really.
Oh, big pick here, Mike. Huge pick here.
Huge. It's huge. And Mexico's going to pay for it. I think Still's defense is going to slow down the Titans. Roethlisberger is going to have a huge day. Steelers.
All right. Let's go to Andy.
I like the Titans. I bought into the Titans. Let's not forget they were one win away from the Super Bowl last year. Mike Vrabel knows what he's doing. Okay, he's got this team believing. They have an awesome running game. AJ Brown is a tremendous receiver, and Ryan Tannehill, he's doing well here. Yeah, I agree with Tom. Their defense is a little iffy, but they just are really a balanced team. And I don't know if the Steelers really have been challenged yet this year. Now they've played great, no doubt about it. But I just think Tennessee, I mean, they pounded Buffalo last week. This is an elite team in the AFC. I like the Titans.
All right. Upset special has spoken. Jared, who are you going with?
Andy and I are in agreement here. I'm going with the Titans. I've been very impressed with what I've seen from the Titans. I think, again, I think that smashing of the Bills just even gave them even more confidence than they were already playing with. I know I've talked about that a lot, but teams that obviously pick up big wins are going to play with confidence. And I agree about AJ Brown. I think AJ Brown is a tremendous receiver. When you put him with the way that Tannehill is playing and the way that Derrick Henry is running the ball, give me the Titans. Defense is a little suspect, as you guys have pointed out, but Titans.
And
not going to be a blowout by any means, but Titans.
Oh, no, this is going to be a great game, I think.
It'll be a good game.
I think there's going to be a high-scoring game, too. And, Andy, you brought up a good point. Have the Steelers been challenged? Well, so far they've played the Giants, the Broncos, the Texans, when the Texans were about at their worst.
Right, yep.
And the Eagles and the Browns when the Browns were about at their worst. So I would agree with your argument.
Yeah.
I don't think they have been challenged. No. I'm going to go Titans as well. And I was leaning that direction because I just feel like the Titans offense is unstoppable. And I know the Steelers defense is taking a step up from last year, but I still am not sure. I need to see more out of that.
One more thing I want to add to that too, though. As much as I don't like the Steelers, I have to respect them. Yeah. You told Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell to hit the road and they're 5-0. That's impressive.
Yep. Yeah. And they seem a lot more disciplined than they've been.
Absolutely.
This year too.
Yep. Yeah. No, they do. James Conner is running the ball well too, and they've had some different guys. Chase Claypool has obviously stepped up on offense for them. So
that should be a good one. All right, we got two more games. Jags and Chargers. 4:25 game was out of order on the schedule. Man, the Jags are just falling apart. I'm gonna go with the youthful Chargers here. Jared, what do you think?
I'm very tempted to pick a tie here. Extremely tempted to pick a tie.
This could be a tie. Definitely.
Definitely pick a tie. I don't know. Give me the Chargers like 13-9 or something ridiculously terrible.
You know what?
Give me the Chargers because, again, like you said, they're the Jags. I do like Gardner Minshew, though.
So we get to pick one tie a week if we want. I'm going Chargers or tie here. I'm putting the tie card on this one.
Okay.
Andy, what do you think?
Justin Herbert's your rookie of the year, guys. He's been sensational so far. I do like the Chargers. The Jaguars are a dumpster fire. I mean,
Mike.
I don't think I can say it any better than Andy did. So Chargers.
All right, I like it. And Monday Night Football. This should be an interesting one. The 5-1 Bears against the 4-2 Rams. The Rams, they looked horrid last week. The Bears got a nice win against Carolina. The Rams are one of those teams you don't know what you're going to get. The Bears, they've been pretty consistent. Nick Foles, he's been getting the job done. He beats the Bucs, then he beats Carolina, and I think he's going to beat the Rams. I'm going Bears.
Nick Foles, the guy who wins, and he beat Tom Brady again 2 weeks ago. If you're the Bears, you finally have a quarterback. I don't ever want to hear Mitch Trubisky's name ever again. This Bears defense is legit. They are a sleeper in the NFC, guys, especially if they have to play a game in cold weather. That could be a factor.
All right. Bears for Andy. Upset special. Jared, what do you got?
Going Rams. I think the Rams are going to bounce back. Again, I know the Bears defense is legit, as Andy alluded to, but I think the Rams find a way to get the job done here. I can't say anything has really overly impressed me about the Rams. I just have a hunch here that the Rams are going to find a way to pull out a W here and come away victorious.
Well, when you have a hunch and you're picking against me, that worries me. Mike, what do you got?
Yeah, you know what? I am going with the same hunch. I think the Rams are going to get back on track with this one. It's going to be a close game. I'm talking maybe 3 points. So Rams.
All right, there you have it. Our Week 7 NFL picks. Can't believe it's already Week 7. That's unbelievable. Just flying by. Hopefully we'll get no COVID interruptions, and they won't have to reschedule too many more games. But, of course, we shall see. But we are out of time, believe it or not. Don't forget.
Tom, how many games did we all pick together? I think Andy has the best chance of winning next week if his teams come through, because he definitely picked a few different ones from us.
I'll get back to you on that. But
right.
We're going to wrap up the show. Don't forget, Hiller Sports continues this weekend. You can see the schedule on our website, hcam.tv. For Andy Barron, Mike Terosian, Jared Keene, I'm Tom Nappi. Thank you for watching HCAM Sports Talk Live. We'll see you again next Wednesday at 3 p.m. Take care, everybody, and have a great rest of your day.